Deja vu at the Nut and Fancy project as I revisit a previously reviewed knife, the Cold Steel Long Hunter. You'll see it right above this video because I'm going to add this one as a response video. That way they're paired together. Might even annotate the original review I gave this knife. Very positive, I might add. That's because you get a 7-inch blade, which is K-bar length, 7.5 ounce blade. That's a lot of knife for lightweight. Wasn't perfect, and I gave it a few criticisms. As you can see, if you want to run that video above, you can. But the purpose of this video is to show you how I fixed one of the aspects of the Cold Steel Long Hunter. I mentioned in my review video that the knife is excellent if you want to employ it in a defensive role. For a civilian, I actually prefer that bright blade. That's a good thing. However, if you're going to use it as a soldier's knife, you're deploying to Afghanistan, Iraq, or another theater of war as a troop, bright blade, not such a great idea, like I mentioned. And I'm going to show you how I took care of that. I have several DuraCoat projects in the works, guys. You saw probably my Rat 1 Ontario knife that I modded out and coated in this color. And guess what? I did this one too, and here it is. Bam! There is the Cold Steel Long Hunter as modified by Nut and Fancy, and it gets rid of all the high reflectivity problems the knife would have in theater. In theater, again, I'm talking about troops who'd use it on their LBE gear. Let's talk about the blade, and I'll tell you what I did with the sheath. And these are minor modifications, nothing huge. But look at the blade now. That is a DuraCoated Cold Steel Long Hunter in Coyote Brown. And as you can see, I shot it, sprayed it, just like I did the Ontario knife. And prior to shooting it, as you're watching, I sanded it thoroughly with 440 grit sandpaper. Also coated it in Lauer Weaponry's DuraPhos treatment. It's a phosphate treatment designed to make the DuraCoat adhere to the steel better. So I coated it in that and took it off in accordance with the manufacturer's directions, i.e. Lauer Weaponry, and hopefully that'll make it adhere just a little bit better through use. But I'm very happy with the finished product because now we have a very large, super lightweight, low reflectivity blade. And if that's what you're after as a troop, this is a good option. And the amount of money actually I spent to DuraCoat just this knife is actually minuscule. An 8-ounce bottle like this goes pretty far. Actually, this is just a 4-ounce bottle, I'm sorry. Goes pretty far, actually. I've coated like carrying protectors that you saw, several knives in this, some others that I'm going to show you, and including this knife, and I still have over half the bottle left. So it goes farther than I thought it would. So, wicked, huh? Look at that color. Nice, Coyote Brown. Yeah, you guys know I'm a big fan of that if you've been watching my project. I did sand the handle. It's kind of hard to get down and sand in between the fake wood grain of the handle. So that kind of blows, a polypropylene handle. So, I just degreased it as best I could. And as it's gone in and out of the sheath, you can see that some of it is going to wear off the handle. That's fully expected by me because the sheath is a press-fit sheath, and it kind of exerts some friction on the handle like I mentioned in my review. Also on top, I meant to cut in some jimping. I forgot to do that. I might do it just like right now and just cut right through the DuraCoat. Until then, though, I put a ridge of sandpaper, skateboard tape on the ridge of that upper spine, I should say, of the knife. And so now your thumb can lock in there better. Now, of course, the DuraCoat doesn't do anything to increase the traction of the handle. Just doesn't. It's more for looks. By the way, you guys might be wondering, that exposed edge, how did you do that? Well, after I shot the DuraCoat onto the Long Hunter blade, I let it dry for a couple hours. Then I took a single-edged razor blade and carefully bladed off the cutting edge with the DuraCoat before it would cure. Remember, DuraCoat is an epoxy that's going to cure over time. Specifically, 2 to 3 weeks, it'll reach its full hardness, and then DuraCoat says it can withstand extreme duty at that time. So, don't know how it's going to wear. Time will tell. No, I'm not going to go out there and just start thrashing on the blade. I'll let it wear normally. And also I might take it out in Nut and Fancy Wilderness Adventures and do some splitting with it just as a test. And one reason I went with an inexpensive blade like this is just for testing purposes, and so I can get my own expertise up to speed on the DuraCoating process. It is fairly simple, like I've mentioned, not too complicated to mix and to apply. I think most of the work, as I mentioned in my 700p, the Remington Long Gun DuraCoat video, most of the work is in the preparation. And in this knife, sanding this blade. I almost think that sandblasting with the proper media would be the best way to provide a base, adhesion base for the DuraCoat, and I will probably do that on some future blades. One thing I did, you may have noticed, is that in the catalog it does not have a lanyard hole as it comes from the factory. I'm talking the cold steel long hunter, of course. You can see there, no lanyard hole. So I drilled one. Easy enough to do, and no, I don't think it's a full tang design. Probably comes up around here somewhere. So, but for the purposes I would put this knife through, I don't think it's a bad thing. Let me just say I don't think it's a showstopper. But here's a tactical tan 550 cord lanyard, and I just tied it around. And in order to keep that loop tight, I super glued it and I sewed it. That way it tightens, it butts up on the end of that knife butt nice and tight, and then I just tied it on the end. I was going to put like a sliding barrel of some sort on it, but I'm just going to do a loop. One advantage of having that lanyard on there, by the way, I didn't mention this because I didn't have it at the time when I reviewed the Cold Steel Long Hunter, is the extraction of the blade. So you can see how it sits down into that sheath, friction fit, nice and tight, won't come out, won't shake upside down, so you could probably wear it upside down, at least initially, till it wore out. But you can extract the blade initially with that lanyard, nice and fast. Getting to the sheath, what did I do to that? That's not DuraCoat, that's a material called Camoform. And where did my bag of Camoform go? It's all in here, I'm not going to open it up. Camoform is basically like an elastic medical bandage, and it is printed in various camouflage patterns. Of course, this one is Desert Digital. You'll see me using it in the Nut and Fancy project on a variety of things. Heck, you've already seen me. There was a Weatherby Vanguard and Sniper Prime, an opening picture of that video, covered in digital Camoform. So it's a stretch elastic material, reusable. It is not adhesive. It doesn't adhere to the sheath or whatever you're applying it to. It adheres only to itself, just like an ace bandage. And that means you can unwrap it and reuse it. So save your roll, and if you have something else you want to apply it to, you can. But isn't that a nice looking package now? Totally subdued. And don't worry, that can attach to basically anything you want to attach it to with some ingenuity. Sorry, that battery died. I'll join the clips. I was talking about how you can attach this sheath to anything you want to. And basically I'm talking to my troops here on your molly gear. The way I would do it, and I didn't do it here just because I got so many projects in the works, it's hard for me to find the time. The way I would do it is get a length of about, 8 inches of 550 cord, probably the same color, depending on what you want to blend into. Do an X pattern on the back of the sheath, and then wrap duct tape about that thick through that X pattern, and that would lock that X pattern onto the sheath. I should have shown you this, but sorry I didn't. And do one on the bottom. And that way you'd have an X pattern of 550 cords that will not come off because it's locked into place with wrapped high quality duct tape. I like Gorilla Tape again. I know there's other types out there. After I've done that, then I would Camoform, wrap that around, kind of weaving through the 550 cord. If you have to cut some holes in it afterwards or during the process, you could do that. And then you could use that 550 cord to attach this to your loadout gear, whatever that is. And you'll see more of that in the future with Nut and Fancy. So guess what? That's it. That's the Cold Steel Long Hunter quick video. I wanted to show you what it looks like with a sheath modification. Real simple to do with the sheath. A little bit more work required to prep and spray that blade in the excellent DuraCoat. I expect it'll wear much better than paint. I do expect it will wear, though. It's not part of the steel, so to speak, so it's probably going to wear off with some hard use. We'll find out as the project rolls along. Thanks again, guys. More coming. These projects kind of take some time, though, so it cuts my video production down a lot. Nut and Fancy. See you.